3 years. So if a program gets less than 600 marks, it is labeled as not accredited. So we don't want any program to be not accredited. So we request all of you that you work on it. You work seriously on it and make it fit for 6 years. That will happen only if everybody from the organization is involved. Now, as I said, there are different criteria. These are for engineering. I kept this because I thought there may be some engineering participants from engineering institutions also. So there are 10 criteria. For diploma, there are only 7 criteria. Right? And total marks are 1000. Just see, vision, mission, program, educational objectives, 1 criteria, program, curriculum and teaching learning process, 2nd criteria, course outcomes and program outcomes, 3rd criteria, students' performance, 4th criteria, faculty information and contributions, 6th criteria, faculty information and contributions, 5th criteria, facilities. These first five criteria are almost common with the MBA programs also. I'll come to it. Right? Then there's a continuous improvement. Continuous improvement is very important in MBA because we are now talking about outcome-based accreditation. Outcome-based accreditation is when you are following the outcome-based system of teaching learning. That you are going to discuss tomorrow, I think. Professor Grover will discuss. So I am not going into that. So this is for engineering programs. This is for accreditation. Sorry, this is for MBA institution. Vision, mission and program execution 50 marks. Same as for engineering programs. Second program, second this point, there is a lot of stress on governance, leadership and financial resources. Just see, if I take back to you, to the engineering this is at 10. In engineering it is governance, institutional support and financial sources is at 10, and there are, let's say, 120 marks for engineering programs. But for MBA program, it has been brought to number 2. There is a lot of importance on leadership here. There is a thing called leadership in the engineering program. Just see, it is institutional support and financial sources. But in your program, in MBA program, it is leadership on which there is a lot of stress. How is the leadership team? How many people are leaving? How long a director of the institution stays? So program outcomes and course outcomes that you will discuss tomorrow or day after, what POs are, COs are. Curriculum and learning process. That means how good is the quality of the curriculum and how are the learning processes. Students, what type of students you are getting and how they are performing. How many are passing in 2 years? How many are passing without backlog in 2 years? How many are passing with backlog? How many are not able to clear in 3 years? Then quality of admission also. What is the rank of the students which are getting admission to your institution? And how many are passing from first year to second year? What is the academic performance of the students when they pass from first year to second year? Of course, how much is the employment? How much is the placement? How many are turning to entrepreneurship? Faculty attributes and contribution. Everything about faculty is in criteria 6. Industry and international connect. This is not there in engineering. Industry connect is there, but international connect is not there. It is infrastructure. It is there in engineering also, but it is different in your programs because you don't have labs and all that labs. You maybe have 1 or 2 labs. Alumni is very important. Of course, we talk about alumni performance, how much you connect with them, how many meetings you have, what is the contribution of the alumni in your program. We do talk in engineering also, but here it is more important and continuous improvement. How are you trying to improve every year, year and after year? So pre-qualifiers, I will come to it. The requirement is that student admitted to the in the program should be more than 60% of the approved intake. That means if you have approved intake of 60, this is average over 3 years. That means you should have an average 60% admission. Sometimes it may be 70%, another time it may be 50%, another time it may be 80% also. So, but the average admission ratio of enrollment ratio should be 60%. Okay, we'll come to this. Let's quickly go through SAR. These are the 10 criteria. There are two parts in the SAR. One is called institutional information, general information about the institution. Second is the program program information. So it is only address of the institution, name, address of the affiliating university, year of establishment, type of the institution, is it INI, university, deemed university, affiliated institution, or it is a PGDM institution. Ownership, who is the owner, trust, society, central government, state government, or it may be government aided. Vision of the institute and mission of the institute, you have to write here. This is only for reference purposes only, nothing, there are no marks for it here. Details of the programs offered by the institution, all programs including MBA, including BBA also. Programs to be considered out of, let's say, what we do, because you are a standalone MBA institution, you may be offering MCA also. So here, in this details of all the programs, you will like the MBA and MCA. Also start, year of the start, intake at the start. Uske baad, if it has been increased, how much has been increased, year of intake increased. Approval letters, you should keep all the years of approval letters for all the years. And accreditation status, you can say applying for first time, or you are given provisional accreditation in such and such year and not accredited. Why? So not eligible, but whatever you say, you can write applying for the first year if you are applying for the first year. Now you are here in number 8, you are writing all the programs which you are running, whereas in number 9 you are writing the programs only which are to be considered while this application. If you are writing only one MBA here, write one MBA. Year of section, current year section intake 60, current year admission 58. That is all. Contact information of the head of the institution and MBA coordinator if designated. You must designate one MBA coordinator who will coordinate with all the other faculty. Now this is the criteria. These are 1,000 marks. These 1,000 marks are again distributed into sub-criteria. Let's say first criteria is vision and mission and program education practice. This is common with engineering programs. It is same for diploma and degree. So vision, mission and mission statements of the. Now we are talking about program. We are not talking about the institute here, right? So what is vision? Vision is what we want to be, where the institutes want to go, why the institution is existing, right? Just what? Hello? Sorry. So So vision is what we want to be or why we are existing. Mission is we want to be an excellent institution. We want to be a preferred institution in the region for giving MBA education. So how will you achieve that? So that is the mission statement. Mission is basically the action part of the vision. How will you achieve? Vision is a dream. Vision says you dream, but mission says how will you get that dream? How will you reach to that dream? Then there are PEOs, program education statements. Program education statements are where you want to see your students after 4 or 5 years of passing. Vision, mission, PEOs, PO and CO. PEOs are where you want to see your students after 4 or 5 years of passing out. But POs are where you want what your students will be able to demonstrate immediately after passing the 2 years program. What will be their capabilities? These are called POs. And COs are the course outcomes. What will be the capability of the students immediately when you offer one course? Let's say when you have completed one course in one subject. Course means, let's say there is a difference between the program and course. Program is your MBA program. Course is, let's say you are teaching human behavior. That is a course. If they are, let's say human behavior, you are teaching 2 subjects. Human behavior is a subject and human behavior 1 is one course, human behavior 2 is second course. Then how do you disseminate this vision, mission and program education objectives? What is the formulation process? How do you formulate the vision and mission? Is it that 2 persons are sat together and they have made the vision mission, or you are involving other stakeholders also? Who are the stakeholders in your process? Who are the stakeholders? Stakeholders are your you as teachers. You as teachers, students whose future is dependent on what you are teaching. Then let me take my this. Who are the stakeholders? Stakeholders are you as teachers are the stakeholders. Your students are the stakeholder. Your management is the stakeholders. Your industry partners, who will be employing your people, your state government, they are the stakeholders. So did you make this vision and mission just sitting together by the faculty only, or you have involved the stakeholders also? Just let me take out. Or you have involved the stakeholders also in the process. It is expected that you will involve all the stakeholders so that their viewpoint is also taken. Why? Because we want that the stakeholders should tell us what to teach. So that, because they are the employers. You are producing 60 MBAs every year. What will you do with that? You cannot employ them. So formulation process, how will you formulate the vision, mission and PEOs? Then The PEOs which you are forming, they have to be consistent with the mission. That means what we wanted to achieve, it should be directed towards attainment of PEOs. What are the PEOs? PEO is, let's say, I want to see my students as a group leader, as a team leader after 5-6 years of working in industry. So what are we doing? Which are the mission statements? Am I working on team leadership? Do I have a plan that my students will develop as team leaders? Right? So this is all about criteria 1. Similarly, there is a criteria 2. Now it talks about governance, leadership and financial resources. It is not there in engineering at this point. It is at point 10, but then leadership is only in this. It talks about governing body structure, frequency of meetings, who are the members, whether they are the members on the paper only or are they attending the meetings, are there any minutes or agenda for the meeting, are there any minutes, is there any action taken report, and what is the quality of the decision taken by the BOG. It is just for the sake of having a BOG, or are they taking quality decision? In one of the institutions I went, I told them to bring the minutes of the meeting of the BOG. They brought the minutes of the meeting of the BOG, and which said, first point is that students of final year will go for industrial visit on 24th May. Now, do you think this decision should be taken by BOG? There can be a general policy decision that the students will go for industrial visits. But the decision when they will go, which industry they will go, that should not be even in the purview of the principal. It should be in the purview of the concerned teacher. Then service rules. What are the? Do you have a? Does the institute have a copy of the service rule, printed service rule? For government, we don't have to bother about it because we do have government, because government institutions have to follow the government policies. But for self-financing institutions, do you have service rules which talk about the service conditions, promotion policies, medical benefits, and about sponsoring for doing higher studies, for presenting papers, for attending conferences? Do you have the rules? Many times there is a booklet prepared by the organization, but the teachers do not know about it. It is not shown to the teacher. So it has to be transparent. The employees should know what are their entitlements and what they can get. Then policies, coordination with stakeholders. What are the policies which are being followed for governance of the institution? And the people should know it. Institute employees should know it. Strategic plan. That means what is the strategic plan for the next 2 years or for next 5 years, next 10 years? Where do you want to take the institute? Faculty of empowerment. Faculty development plans. Do you conduct TNA anytime so that you know what is the requirement of the faculty? Decentralization and delegation of financial and administrative powers both. Right? Whether faculties can spend some money, or there are some administrative decisions which can be taken by head of the department, or everything has to go to principal of the management. You should have. It is not only that you should have this, but it should be practiced also. Many times we have seen that there is a letter that HOD can spend up to 5,000 rupees at a time to take care of the day-to-day requirements of the department without taking any permission from the management. But that is only a decision on paper. When you ask them, when did you exercise this power? There is no record. There is no record available because they have not done it. I am talking more about self-financing. Government, their systems are very, very clear and transparent. Grievance redressal mechanism. Do you have a mechanism? If it is there, how many times that grievance redressal committee met and what are the actions taken by that? How many complaints did they receive? And what is the action taken by them? Transparency. Transparency in the financial, let's say, information of policies, rules, processes, dissemination of information, your annual accounts audit, are they available on the institute website? This is very important. Leader and faculty selection process. How are you selecting the policy, this faculty? More for self-financing, because in government the process is very much defined and followed. But in government, in self-financing, how do you select people? How do you select faculty? What is the process? Is it documented? Yes, it is documented. Are you following it? These are two different things. You can document something, but you may not be following it. Both have to be ensured. Stability of academic leaders. As I said earlier, how stable is the system? You see, people are coming to your institution and staying there. They are not leaving that way. The system is taking care of the faculty. If there is a lot of attrition, people are coming and going after 6 months, after a year, after 2 years, that means there is something wrong with the system. You need to analyze it. Then this is what the financial resources, budget allocation, utilization. I am not devoting much time on this. This is POs and COs. This is what are the POs? POs are already given by NBA. You should visit the NBA website. COs you have to write for each course. Then maybe tomorrow it will be discussed. It is both how they will contribute and how much is actual contribution. One is our plan that this subject on financial accounting will contribute to PO number 1, 2, 3, 4, and this much will be the contribution. But second is attainment actual. How much it has contributed? There are methods of calculation. First, Grover will be discussing that tomorrow. Then this is about the students. This is the criteria for his curriculum and learning processes. Process for designing the curriculum. How do you design it? If you are affiliated institution, you have to just say that we are following the curriculum given by the university. Then course structure. How many courses, LTP, normally we have it. Then contents. How much is your core content? How much is the electives? How much is the humanities how much is the open electives, summer internship, final dissertation? You have to just give from the booklet. You have the syllabus booklet. Overall quality and level of the curriculum, that you have to justify that your program is good. You have to justify. Then state the process used to identify extent of compliance. You see, everything in OBE revolves around outcome-based education, and outcome-based is attainment of program outcomes. So you have to see that these are my subjects, these are the program outcomes, these are the subjects which are mapping to the, which are contributing to the program outcomes. So each subject should contribute to minimum one program outcome. In fact, each subject should contribute to many program outcomes. If there are any gaps, you feel that this should have been taught because you are an affiliated college, you don't have control over the my boss. You do not. You find that this should be taught. Let's say you want that ERP should be taught. So you cannot do anything, you cannot change the syllabus, but you can write to university. One is you write to university that we need this to be included in the curriculum. Second is you at least cover for the current batch to invite some experts. It is not necessary that you will invite experts from outside only. You can you can request one of your friends in the department, your co-teacher, who can give a lecture on ERP because he knows it. Then what are you doing for improving the quality of teaching and learning? What new methods? Is it only chalk and board method, or you have probably included some simulations in it, some ICT based lecture, some group tasks, some projects. If you have that, please do that. Write in the SAR. Quality of continuous improvement.
Sorry for inconvenience. Sir will be rejoining within 5 minutes. Due to some technical reason, he's not able to rejoin. So just wait for 2 more minutes. He's just joining back.
Very sorry, very sorry. The power is playing actually. So let me start again. Madam, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
So we were talking about criteria. We were talking about criteria 4. So what are we doing to improve the quality of teaching, learning and evaluation? You see, very important part is the evaluation part. What we are failing is, we are failing in the evaluation. We do not have a rigid and trustworthy evaluation system. And part of it is because we as teachers, we are not bothered about the evaluation. So it is describe process followed to improve quality of teaching, learning. What are we doing? Then quality of continuous assessment. This new education policy, if you have seen, it says there will be a lot of stress on more marks for the continuous evaluation and lesser marks for end term and semester examination. But for that, we need to be honest. We should need to be able to resist pressures, right? Then quality of student reports and presentation. You see, whatever you are doing as a project, as this report, as presentation, that should be taken seriously. You should have a process for writing for allocating this project work to the students, for allocating the guide, for monitoring and for evaluation, right? So next is now students quality. It is basically how students are, how many how many seats are getting filled, then how students are progressing, and how students are going from first year to second year, how many students are passing without backlog and how many students are passing within 2 years, placement and higher studies. So I am not going through this because somebody will be talking to you on this. I am just giving an overview. Then professional activities of the students. You do have chapters, some chapters of student chapters of professional bodies, but it is not enough to have a student chapter of professional body. We need to have some activities under that. So criteria 6 is everything about faculty, student faculty ratio, everything. Very important here is that how many are senior faculty members, how many associate professors, how many are assistant professors, because many times we have seen that only assistant professors are there, there are no senior professors. So the ratio is 1:2:6. That means for let's say you have 9 faculty members, 1 should be professor, 2 should be associate professor, and 6 should be assistant professors. And it is the minimum requirement. You can have better. You can have more professors, more associate professors, and lesser assistant professors. Faculty retention, how many people are retained in your organization? How many are leaving within 6 months or 1 year or 2 years? Then here is the faculty performance. Do you have a faculty performance appraisal performer? And you see in government we have. But in self-financing institutions, do you have it? Are you using it? Are you using it for appraisal and development of the faculty? Do you have visiting faculty? Academic research. Whatever research you are doing, whatever papers you are publishing, and sponsored research. This is where many of the institutions will fail. They will get lesser marks. Right, then preparation of teaching cases, because as I understand in management programs, you are teaching through cases, case studies, of how many you have prepared and what is the quality of that. Then this is industry and international track. whether faculty is attached to some. In IIMs, I've seen that many of the faculties are consultants to the industry. So 7th criteria is for industry and international connect. Student exchange programs, faculty exchange programs, collaborative research projects, MOUs and partnerships, and infrastructure, classrooms, library, learning management system, hostel facility, medical facility, including internet availability. The 9 is alumni, involvement of alumni association. Do you have, how many times you meet, what are the contribution of the alumni, and how do you connect to the alumni? Normally you should have alumni meet. Now there are institutions which are old institutions, they say we have a global alumni meet. We will go and meet in USA. But you should prepare for it. There are failures also. Then continuous assessment. Continuous assessment, you don't have to do anything. This is from the previous data. What is the improvement in placement, higher study, entrepreneurship? Do you have academic audit? If it is, what action has been taken? What are the shortcomings which have been pointed out by the internal academic audit? How often you do it, right? Then this is 10.1 is about the attainment of POs. Tomorrow you will come to know what is attainment of POs. And improvement the quality of the students admitted. From where it will come? It will come from what are the ranks of the students in the national and state level competitions. So this is SAR, right? So what I want to do is I can go to chat box before I start with the next one. The other one is a small topic. And any questions you have? Very good participation. I see 98 people logged in. Congratulations, Madam Komal.
Thank you so much.
Any questions you have? I know you have full week, but yeah, Komal, you have.
Nothing. I was just asking participant, like in case they have any query or any question regarding the session, they can raise their hand or they can drop the message in the message box. Or they can unmute themselves.
Dr. Pravinder Bangar says no questions till now. Either you have understood or you have not understood anything, or you knew it.
Pardon me, sir. This
Yes,
is Dr. Sunita.
Yeah.
Yes. Actually, my question is a bit related to today's dilemma regarding MBA, that we are watching in today's scenario, that how MBA can help. MBA is just we see there are many colleges that those are offering MBA program, and they are not NBA accredited also. So and big institutions are not a cup of tea for a normal student. So how you suggest to those colleges for the future sake of the students? स्टूडेंट्स को एडमिशन लेना है तो वो कहीं भी लेंगे, और बड़े इंस्टीट्यूशन उनकी रीच में नहीं है. So shouldn't be there some criteria that whenever any college is started, they have to be accredited within the time period? Because we see there are so many colleges nowadays, just like Vishrumi.
Thank you, Dr. Sunita. Thank you for a very nice question. It should be there, but our is such a big system, and we want that everybody should be a MBA student, MBA pass out, right? Even after that, they are getting jobs. So what in new education policy, what is going to happen is that they will give you time, right? Let's say you are there for the last 2 years. Now it is not pre-accreditation. You can have only standard that okay, you will be allowed to open an institution, but in 3 years you should have to you have to come in to that standard. Standard means you have to get accredited. Accreditation in NEP, New Education Policy, that's National Education Policy 2020, it is going to play a very important role. They will do the check It will be mandatory, right? Every 5 years you have to go for accreditation. Initially they will have graded accreditation, but after that it is going to be binary 0 and 1. But they will be regulators now. There will be a regulator who will regulate quality. And after that they will give you time that okay, in 1 year you improve, otherwise we will take a punitive action against it. So the quality has to improve. There is a lot of stress on quality in the National Education Policy 2020. So it has to come. It will be survival of fittest. Students will not be able to go. Now in National Education Policy also says that we will allow international institutions also. Good international institution. I know fee will be a problem, but government is going to start scholarships also. Let's see how much successful it will be. But the idea is that only good institutions should survive, and whatever institutions are there, they should provide good education.
But we still see in today's time that many of the private colleges who are not offering good placements, who are not offering good teachers, they are hiring the teachers on the less. Or in we see that in the Corona time also their salaries are being half, or online classes are going to be there. So isn't there should be some not a NBA, but there should be some criteria or some check on the colleges. Private colleges shouldn't do so many bad things to the students. They are doing so window dressing for their advertisement and all. But when students get admission in these colleges, they get their self cheated. That हमने कहाँ एडमिशन ले लिया, हम कहाँ फंस गए, जबकि ब्रोशर और मार्केटिंग अच्छी की जाती है प्राइवेट कॉलेजेस rather than doing on quality. So there should be some check from the AICT side also. Something should be there.
I said in the beginning that AICT is not entering the institutions. That is bad on their part. They are doing everything else. They are saying we will write books, we will set question papers. But what they are doing, they are not monitoring the institutions. Neither the universities are monitoring the affiliating university. They are not monitoring the institutions.
Exactly, sir. मैं यही कहना चाह रही थी. There should be some check up to extent that they shouldn't be do at least false advertising. They shouldn't do. Don't cheat to the students to get the admissions.
Madam, if you see Haryana, in Himachal, there is a higher educational regulatory authority. They have regular check. They let's say in 70% of the institutions, private institutions, universities in Himachal, they said your VCs are not eligible, so they have been asked to remove those VCs. So that type of things are not happening in other states. That is bad state of affairs. So it has to come. It should come actually. We are just waiting for some right movement when it will start. Although we are also member, we are part of the system. You and me, we are all parts of the system. But we cannot do anything. We can just watch. We can complain and nobody takes action. That is the issue.
Sir, thank you for your answering me for this question. And our all hopes are with the new education policy. I hope so. Maybe something good will happen
new
with the new
policy,
education.
talks about very good some points. One very good point is the teachers and directors for the educational institution will be on merit basis. So if that is implemented, I will be very happy. It is not there.
So thank you, sir. So nice of you, sir.
There are some questions in the chat box. It's a papers published area. We have to put the details of the publication during the period of assessment, or we can put total publication done by the department. It is basically, this is Shri Raja Ranjan. He has asked a question about the quality of the papers, or the papers publications are basically by the faculty throughout his life, but from the time he has joined the institution. Let's say there is somebody working on DRDO, and in the last year he has joined your college. In DRDO, maybe he has published 3,000 papers, 300 papers. That will not be counted. That will be the contribution of the person or the faculty members when they have joined your institution. Right? I think it is clear. Shri Rajaranjan. Okay. Another thing you write, you are from which place? Then, Plachi, thank you for joining. Then there's PPS captain. She writes, in polytechnic research facilities are not available. The weightage to research facilities or research component is lesser in polytechnic. It is expected that polytechnics teachers will not be getting the facilities, but at the same time, we have to create facilities. You have to write project. People will, there is financial aid available. So you can create some facilities, do some research, because everybody is now, all polytechnic teachers are master's degree holder. They know what is research. So they should contribute to research. Then Captain Sauda Ekora, he says Washington Accord doesn't mention diploma, but polytechnics are compelled to get MBA. No, Washington Accord is not the reason for getting MBA accreditation. MBA is basically for improving the quality of teaching learning process or improving the quality of the diploma holders. That is why we are saying that diploma colleges should go for MBA. Any other questions? Any other questions? Please do write. Otherwise, I'll go to the next topic. I'm starting with pre-qualifiers. Is it visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Huh?
Your screen is visible.
This screen is visible, okay. So this I have taken from NBA site only. Now when you have to, as I said, you have to fill the pre-qualifiers before you can be allowed to upload the SAR on the NBA website. So what is this format? And it is all online, nothing. You don't have to do anything offline. So just see name and address of the college, year of establishment, head of the institution, name, designation of status of appointment means regular or part-time or whatever it is, or is in charge only. Name and address of the affiliating university. Right? You can give the phone number of the registrar here. Type of institution. What is the type of institution you have? It is same what we discussed in the SAR also. Deemed university, any other, please specify. You can have a self-financing body. When you write autonomous, it is basically government autonomous or autonomy given by UGC. Otherwise, you write that you are a affiliated college, affiliate, or it is a trust or society. Okay, it is affiliated, basically you will come under affiliated college, diploma institution or degree institution. Then who is the owner? Owner is a society, trust, state government, central government, government-aided, self-financing. Self-financing will come under trust also. Campus information. Does the college have its own building, sports complex, canteen and hostel? Yes. If you want to write a yes, sports complex, you can write in bracket that okay, we have sports facilities for such and such. Does the college have its own building? Yes, the college has. Medical room? Yes. Computer laboratories? We have 4 computer laboratories. Counseling and guidance? We have. That doesn't have any meaning in the pre-qualifier. This is just some information. Now this is again details of all the programs offered by the institution. Program name, year of start. Right? All the 10 programs you are offering. Program to be considered for accreditation in this application. As I said, you can go for 5 programs at a time. In addition, you can have MCA and MBA. You write the serial number 1, program name, which you want to be considered. So this is the basic information. Now this was about the institute till now. Now it is the part B, the program information. Program information says name of the program to be considered. Right here, MBA, year of start. Right, 2007. Initial intake 60. Then intake was increased in 2012, 60 more in 2012. AICTE approval letter, it should be there. Accreditation status, first time accreditation or accreditation was given 3 years back for 3 years, now we are going for re-accreditation. So you write all the programs here. Student admission. Let's say you have CAY means current academic year, CAY -1, and current academic year minus previous to previous year. Let's say you have sanction intake of, you can say 60 and 60, and you say 180. That's supernumerary seats like girl child seat, Kashmiri migrant seats. Over and above you don't write actually here. In engineering program we do write sometimes with that lead admissions. Number of students admitted, let's say 55, 40, and let's say 60. So 155. So this is 155 divided by 180. Whatever percentage write, you write it here, and it should be, let's say, just some number, 80 or 80%, right? I can write it. I have not divided it, just write it, 80%, right? So I have given the data here. It is to be given like this only. Information about faculty: name, his PAN number, what is the highest qualification, area of specialization, what is the designation, date of joining the institution, date on which designated as professor, associate professor, right? If they are associate professor and professor. Currently, is he there in the institute or is he associated with your program or not? Nature of association: regular, contract, adjunct, right? There is nothing called contract or adjunct. You probably be more concerned with the regular. If contractual, full-time or part-time. Date of leaving if he has already left. You write all the information for each year, that means for the last 3 years, right? CAY -3, CAY -2, CAY -2, CAY -3, 2, 1, and CAY. And this is for the program. Okay, this is the total, this is the program. It has to, this is for the program only. Everything is B3 is for the program only. The only problem comes in engineering colleges. Let's say there is a physics teacher or a diploma program. Engineering mein nahi aati. Engineering mein the first year is dealt with separately. In diploma program, let's say there is a physics teacher. Physics teacher takes classes in civil engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, and let's say computer engineering. His load is divided as 25% in each. So in mechanical engineering, his contribution will be, his availability will be only 0.25. But here in engineering and MBA, you don't have that problem. If you are not sharing faculty, right? Faculty in the department and the program. Number of faculty in the management institution, department or the program. How many are there? Because you are offering a single program, but this is about the actually program. If you are say engineering institution, then you are writing mechanical engineering program only. Number of faculty for the program applied. Number of faculty in the management institution. Let's say you are offering 2 more programs. So you say I have 15 faculty members. Number of faculty members in the program for which you have applied the applied for accreditation. Let's say 6 faculty members. Number of faculty in the management institution, department of management. Last year. This is averaged over 2 years. So you have to write how many are total and how many are catering to the program for which you are applying. Associate professors, assistant professors. Number of PhDs, how many are there? ये बाद में भी देखेंगे हम. Either 2 professors or 1 professor and 1 associate professor. Either you should have two professors with specialization in management, or one professor and one associate professor with specialization in concerned discipline. Now you find the student faculty ratio. Student faculty ratio पहले बहुत complicated था. अभी क्या है? You have the sanctioned intake. Let's say you are running only one PG program. So P1 and P2 divided by the number of faculty members in the department. But if you are running other program, let's say what happens in engineering, where we are running UG as well as PG. So this will be normally we use per UG program we take only second, third and fourth year, but this is some other program. Let's say you have there is a UG program, you want the 3 years program, so you are adding the students of first, second and third year, and you are adding the students of final year this PG program and divided by number of faculty members available. So what you do is you are running n number of UG programs of first program. How many students are there? Second program, how many students are there? CAY minus 1, CA minus 2. So you calculate the total number of students available and divide by the number of faculty members. That gives you SFR, student faculty ratio. Student faculty ratio for your program should be 1:20. This talks about placements. Number of students placed in companies or government sector, or number of students pursuing PhD, higher studies, number of students turned entrepreneurs. Let's say you had 45. You had admitted 60. Ratio कितनी आ गई? 45 divided by 60, 0.75. Let's say here it comes 0.85. Here it comes 0.70. So you calculate the average here 0.75. That means 75% placement is there. Now this is the compliance report. Whether 3 batches have been graduated from the program under consideration, you say yes and comply. Whether number of available PhD in the management institution department of the management is greater than 20% or equal to the 20% of the required number of faculty average over last 2 years. Let's say you need 1:20 ratio, right? The total number of students, let's say you have 60 is the approved intake, so you will have 2 years running. So 120 students, 120 divided by 20, that will give you need 6 faculty members, right? Then 20% of 6 is maybe 1, right? 20% of 6 is 1. That means you should have 1 faculty member as with PhD in management. इस साल 1, पिछले साल भी 1. ऐसा भी हो सकता है इस साल 2 हो गए, पिछले साल 0, तो फिर भी एवरेज आपकी 1 आ गई. ठीक है, फिर भी हमने क्या किया? Comply. Whether admission in the program has been more than or equal to 60% of the sanctioned intake average over last 3 years, right? हमारे पास 60 सीट्स हैं और मेरी एडमिशन कितनी हुई थी? 155 divided by 180. That will come out to be some value. It should be around 82% or 83%. So I said it is more than 60%. I say comply. whether the institution has 2 professors or 1 professor and 1 associate professor. I said yes, but then I give the names. Dr. X, Dr. Y. I have both the, I can have professors or I can have professor and associate professor. So this is also compliant. Whether the placement मेरी आई थी ऊपर, मैंने कैलकुलेट किया था 75%. Now what it wants? It says placement is more than 60%. I can say yes, 75%, and I say comply. Whether student faculty ratio in the department is less better than or equal to 20%. मेरी कितनी निकली थी? Student faculty ratio, let's say मेरे पास है, okay. I can say that this is SFR. मेरे पास है 1:20, or let's say मेरे को तो better है 1:80. Average after the 3 years. So I write yes here. So बस इतना ही है. If you, okay. यहाँ पे तो हम लिखेंगे comply. यहाँ पे लिखेंगे हम yes. Yes. So this is what you fill in the PQs. So you just upload it. There is no evaluation requirements here. Just see it is if you find there are some not compliant statements here, then you be better careful. Don't apply. Don't waste your money and time. Because if you are not meeting, you also know that you are not meeting the requirements. There is no question that NBA will accept you and NBA will allow you to go ahead with the filing of the SAR. So any questions in this? Dr. Amandeep Kaur has asked a question. So what I will do is, I will just present the PQs for engineering also. Now I understand there are some few teachers from engineering also. So let me see what are the PQs for engineering. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
The new slide now for engineering.
Yes, sir. The new one is visible.
Is this one? PQs
Yes,
for,
sir.
these are the pre-qualifiers for, I just made this actually for diploma, tier 1 and tier 2. What are the tier 1 and tier 2 institutions? Tier 1 institutions are those who have control over review and design of the curriculum. Tier 1 institutions will be like deemed to be universities. Autonomous colleges which are declared autonomous by the university, they can make their own curriculum. IITs, NITs, colleges within the campus of the university, constituent colleges. Now rest of the colleges are affiliated colleges. They are tier 2 colleges. The acceptance which I was telling for international mobility, for students passing from accredited programs, that is only for tier 1 institution. We are still working on getting the equivalence for tier 2 institution. So the first is institute performance, same whatever we have. Anyway, student admission, just see, we had written the total admission. Consider all programs. Let's say we have sanctioned intake, I have written this, number of students admitted is this, and my admission is 74.2%. This is yes, we just get. And programs to be considered for application-wide-based application, I said there are 3 programs to be considered, right? Then provide separate information for each program applied for. So I said, okay, for 1 year of start to 2006, initial intake 60, increase in 60 in intake in 2014, 2006 में शुरू हुआ था 60 सीटों के साथ और 2014 में ये 60 सीटें और बढ़ गई. इसका मतलब टोटल सीटें कितनी हो गई? 120. Admission letter you can this approval letter you can have, and you can write whatever the status, है ना. These are the status applying for first time, granted provisional accreditation for 2-3 years, granted accreditation for 5-6 years. Earlier it was 5, now it is 6 and 3. Not accredited, that means visit was there but you were not accredited. Withdrawn, you can withdraw also. I will talk on the last day. Not eligible for accreditation, that means you are not eligible for accreditation. Second, last say that you are eligible but you didn't apply. There is no problem. Nobody is going to ask. Now this is the student information for each program. You have to, let's say you are applying for 3 programs, you have to make 3 tables like this. Let's say for 1 program, student intake is, approved intake is 120 each, so 3 years 360, and admission is 75, 120, 120, 315, so my enrollment ratio comes 87.5. Here you write the faculty information, here you write the professors and associate professor and assistant professors for the last 3 years. This is just arbitrary that I have filled, okay. Name and details of the head of the department, whether he is PhD or not. Student faculty ratio, SFR. Let's say you are offering 1 PG program and 1 UG program. So in the second year, you are getting 70 at present. Who are there? 75 students. In the third year, there are 126 students, and in the fourth year, there are 120 students. Similarly, CAY minus 1, CAY minus 2, totally 315, 360, 360. Then you are offering 1 PG program also. So there are, okay, this is only for UG program is written. If you are offering a PG program also, you should write the students here. So let's say you have 19 faculty members, you have 315 students, so faculty ratio comes 16.1. Here it comes 18. Here it comes again 18. So, but since I have shown here that there is a 1 PG program, I should have given some data here also. Let's say PG program, normally you have 18 students intake. Let's say I can write 12, and let's say I have 15 here. So the total PG is mera 27. So this will become 19, 315 plus 27, and if you have 19 only, so this ratio will go up, will touch 20. So the average faculty SFR is 17.5. Okay, this is for diploma programs. Student faculty ratio, calculate number of students divided by faculty available in the department. Right? Here you can have the concept of partial faculty, partial load. Yeah, let's say faculty taking physics course is having 50% of allocated load in first year civil engineering, 25% in the first year mechanical engineering, and 25% load in electrical engineering. Then the fractional load contribution will be 0.5 for civil engineering and 0.25 for mechanical and electrical engineering. Now for diploma, these are the qualifiers: whether the approval for 5 years, whether the admission in the program is 50%, give actual permission and right complied. SFR we have calculated, complied. Whether 2 batches are passed, yes, complied. Whether the HOD is available in the respective department, yes or no, whatever. This is desirable. This will not affect your eligibility. Whether department has program assessment and quality. For diploma, we don't bother about it. Actually, if you have a department program assessment and quality improvement quality, right? Yes. If you don't have, make something. Whether the departments under consider receive separately earmarked funds for maintenance, upgradation. You see, funding you don't receive like this. In government also you don't receive like this. You get a lump sum fund, but at the principal level you can allocate some funds headwise. Whether the admission in the program under consideration has been more than 60% in the last 3 years. You see here it is talking about 50%, but here it is desirable that 60% should be there. Right? This is all for diploma. Now, for UG Tier 1 and Tier 2, VN mission, is it available? Are the POs of the program listed in the prospectus website? Yes, yes, comply. Whether approval of the competent authority, AICTE or UGC or BOG of the university, for the program under consideration has been taken. You see, many universities do not go to the AICTE. They can take permission from the competent authority within the university. You say yes. Whether the admission in the undergraduate program at the institute level has been more than or equal to 60% average for CAY1 last 3 years. Now this one has been removed. Institute level they are not asking. Earlier for Tier 1 they say at the institute level, let's say you have 360 seats approved in the first year. Whether you are getting 60%, or let's say you have 300 seats approved for first year, whether you are getting 60% of 180 seats filled or not, and here it was 180 for Tier 2 institutions. Now this parameter is not there. Just for 1 year, this year they have, just because of Corona they have relaxed it. Similarly, this is the program which is under consideration. Now this will be program wise, okay. Then if it is 60% or more for Tier 1 and 50% or more for Tier 2, you say I have 87%, then comply. Calculate the SFR. Now for engineering degree program it is 1:25. So if mine is 17.5, so I have complied. Whether at least 2 professors or 1 professor and 1 associate professor on regular basis with PhD degree in relevant field, right? In relevant field, मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि physics वाला professor आपने mechanical में लिखा हुआ है, he is not acceptable. This is for Tier 1, but for Tier 2 it is 1 professor or 1 associate professor in Tier 2 institution. If you have, yes. Whether number of available PhD, तो उसमें था 20% था Tier 1 में, and that means let's say you need faculty of 20 in your program in mechanical engineering. 20% of 20 is 4. That means you should have 4 people with PhD. But in Tier 2, you should have 2 faculty members with PhD. Whether 2 batches, yes. Whether HOD possesses degree, yes. These are desirable parameters. Whether department has program, assessment and quality, like in diploma I discussed. Same about the funding. So this is what we have for accreditation. Now these are the PQs. You may ask any questions, please. Dr. Amandeep Kaur is. You have a question, please ask, Dr. Amandeep Kaur. You can write, if you can ask. What is okay? You prerequisites, you mean pre-qualifiers only? Pre-qualifiers are the same actually. What I have projected, Tier 2 and Tier 1. If you want specifically for Tier 1, Tier 2, okay. You can go to just NBA website, documents, and you say pre-qualifiers. You download for your people, or you can. I am there. I am giving my phone number here. Madam Komal also has it, and I am giving the email address also. I enjoy talking on this, so that is why I am giving my phone number and email address. We have some time. Would you like me to discuss something about national education, new education policy, national education policy? Okay, at least one candidate is there. Let me see. Just give me two minutes. Okay. Let me download it. It should be there in my. I will not go through the total document, but some. So this is long. Actually, there are some 24 slides, but I will not. I will quickly go through it. I'll come to the higher education. So one is that the system is still 12 years of classes. That is school education, and after that college education. The earlier system was preschool education. We were not recognizing it. Now it is the even 3 years before class 1, it is, they say, earlier child care education. That is also in part of the system. Then class 1 and 2, then class 3 to 5, then class 6 to 8, and 9 to 12. By the time after 12, the student comes to your institution for engineering degree, or if he comes to diploma, then he will be 14 years. If he comes for degree, he will be, no. He'll be 16 years if he comes for diploma. If he or she comes for degree, that age will be 16 years, right? So as I said, this AICTE and UGC will be merged into a single entity. I will not take more time here. This is very important. This slide I want to discuss actually. As per NEP 2020, university will mean a multidisciplinary institution. That single discipline institution like MBA institution, pharmacy college, engineering institution, that is going to stop existing. It will mean a multidisciplinary institution of higher learning that offers undergraduate and graduate program, that means UG and PG programs with high quality teaching, research and community engagement. There will be 3 types of universities. Research intensive universities, there will be equal emphasis on teaching and research. There will be teaching intensive universities, great emphasis on teaching, but greater emphasis on teaching, but still conduct significant research. Then there will be autonomous degree granting colleges, a large multidisciplinary institution of higher learning that grants undergraduate degrees and is primarily focused on undergraduate teaching through it. Now it will not be restricted to that, and it need not be restricted to that, and would generally be smaller than a typical university. So all colleges, there will be no affiliated college. All colleges, if there are, there will be degree granting colleges, right? There will be degree awarding colleges. Over a period of time, every college would develop into either an autonomous degree granting college or a constituent college of a university, and it will be fully part of the university like we have now. So that means these affiliated colleges are going to go, right? We will have only universities. If this autonomous degree granting colleges will also be converted into universities only. Nomenclature like state universities, unitary universities, deemed to be universities will cease to exist with appropriate accreditation. Accreditation is going to play a very important role Autonomous degree granting colleges would evolve into research intensive degree or teaching intensive universities. Similarly, teaching intensive universities can go into the research intensive universities. And there will be some multidisciplinary education and research universities also. By 2030, all HEIs to attain the required level of students, and it is expected that all universities will have a student strength of minimum 3,000. Gross enrollment ratio has to be raised to 50% by 2030. As on today, it is somewhere around 25%. Gross enrollment ratio is, if 100 students are passing out from the school education system, how many are going to the college system? As of now, around 25% are going to the college system. Rest 75%, where are they going? Nobody knows. It will be multiple entry, multiple exit, and they say this degree college, UG degree will be of 3 years or 4 years. Right? The 4-year degree we call degree with research. PG program will be 1 year or 2 years. If somebody has done 4 years UG program, then it will be 1 year.
Sir, your slides are not visible.
Oh. Is it visible now?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No.
Okay, just hold on. You should have told earlier.
Actually, sir, we were writing the messages.
Oh, I didn't, because message slide goes back actually. This message वाली slide जो है ना पीछे चली जाती है. And you have written. Actually, I stopped sharing when I was talking to you. Is it visible now?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
I'll
sir.
go
Yes.
back. So this is the system I was telling. Then there will be a Higher Education Commission of India, which will be the umbrella body for controlling the education. It will have 4 verticals: National Higher Education Regulatory Council, that means the AICTE, UGC, all will go. National Accreditation Council, which will be responsible for accreditation of the bodies. Higher Education Grants Commission, let's say now UGC is the approving body as well as it gives the grants. Now grants will be under separate vertical, separate body, under the HECI only. Then General Education Council, it will be a separate, which will be the general rules. I will not go through this. As I said, there will be 3 types of universities: research intensive universities, teaching intensive universities, and autonomous degree granting colleges. Right? And each, in fact, they will be all called universities only. These universities which we have, state universities, unitary university, deemed to be university, they will not be there. And because the research university is the higher level, teaching university is a little lower level, autonomous colleges are a lower level. With proper accreditation status, the status of the institution will change. That means autonomous degree granting colleges will be converted into research intensive or teaching intensive universities. Similarly, teaching intensive universities will be converted into research intensive universities. So this is the system. We want to increase the gross enrollment rate, so GER we बोलते हैं. Then we have multi-point entry and multi-point exit. UG program will be 3 years, but you will have 4 years program also. This will be called UG with research. PG program will be 1 year or 2 years, but the institutions will have a choice to offer the program. You can have integrated 5 years, bachelor's and master's degree. MPhil will be discontinued. Even BEd will, I think BEd will be integrated. Then all education will be outcome-based education. There will be a system of credit transfer and academic bank transfer. Whereas when we are talking about multi-point entry and multi-point exit, when we are talking about UG program 3 years, that means the student can go out of the institution after 1 year. He can come back in your institution after working for 2 years. He can come 2-3 years. He can come back to your institution, or he can go to other institution. So there will be a academic bank of credits for each student. It will be maintained at a national level, and all the institution, higher education institution will be able to access it. उसका benefit हम देंगे उसको second year में entry करने के लिए, whatever credits he has done. जो second year के बाद पास का बच्चा बाहर जाता है उसको हम डिप्लोमा देंगे, जो 3 years के बाद जाता है उसको हम डिग्री देंगे. 50% that is result. What it says that 50% gross enrollment ratio will result into 3.5 करोड़ बच्चे और उसमें आएंगे एजुकेशन सिस्टम में, राइट. 3.5 करोड़ आएंगे, इसका मतलब कॉलेज वालों को फायदा होने वाला है. This is exit after 1 year certificate, exit after 2 years diploma, exit after 3 years degree. अगर स्टूडेंट को 1 साल के बाद जाना है डिप्लोमे के बाद, 1 साल में तो हम उसको साइंसेस सिखाते हैं और कुछ सिखाते ही नहीं है, तो उसके बाद क्या स्किल होगी. इसका मतलब हमें ऐसा करिकुलम बनाना होगा कि जब वो फर्स्ट ईयर के बाद बाहर जाए, ही शुड हैव सम स्किल. लेट्स से मैकेनिकल वाला उसको हम अच्छा सा वेल्डर बना देंगे, अच्छा सा कारपेंटर बना देंगे पहले साल में, उसकी वर्कशॉप उसी पे कंसंट्रेट करेंगे. 2 साल के बाद जाता है डिप्लोमा लेवल की स्किल आ जाएंगे, 3 के बाद जाता है डिग्री लेवल की आ जाएंगे. अभी तो फ्लूइड स्टेट है, अभी हमें पता ही नहीं है कि इंजीनियरिंग डिग्री 3 साल की होगी कि 4 साल की. ठीक है. प्रोग्राम आउटकम्स पीओज अब आप बात करोगे, कल हम ली जा रहे हैं. फैसिलिटी फॉर स्टूडेंट्स टू एंटर, even students from other institutions. That means it is not that your students will only come back. The students from other institutions can come to your institution and your students can go to other institutions. है ना. क्रेडिट फॉर प्रायर लर्निंग. अगर कोई कहता है मुझे ये तो आता है, आप टेस्ट कर लो, आपको टेस्ट करके उसको उसका बेनिफिट देके अगले साल में लेके देना पड़ेगा. Academic bank of credits, whatever credits the student has done, it will be available to all the HEIs. Suitable teaching learning processes हमें चेंज करने पड़ेंगे, and assessment and evaluation system जो मैं कहता हूँ बहुत वीक है, उसको हमें चेंज करना पड़ेगा. So यही है. जब बाकी तो ज्यादा मैं इसमें नहीं जाता, because it is a full lecture otherwise. So any questions please? Accreditation का रोल इसमें बहुत आने वाला है. You will not be allowed. EPS कैट, ये डिप्लोमा वाला तो अभी पता नहीं चल रहा. डिप्लोमा वाला तो हम भी कंफ्यूज हैं कि क्या होने वाला है. डिप्लोमा, he says what will happen to the diploma institutions, it is not clear, but it will be clear. You may be converted into skill universities, diploma colleges. तो एक्रेडिटेशन जो है, एक्रेडिटेशन पे ही डिपेंड करेगा आपके कॉलेज की क्वालिटी, आपकी जो फंडिंग होनी है, आपको जो स्कॉलरशिप मिलने हैं, आपको जो प्रोजेक्ट्स फंड होने हैं, दैट विल डिपेंड ऑन एक्रेडिटेशन स्टेटस ओनली. शुरू में ग्रेडेड होगी, जैसे कि ये प्लस है, ये ए है, बट जब सिस्टम स्टेबलाइज हो जाएगा, देन एक्रेडिटेशन विल बी बाइनरी, आइदर 0 or 1. दैट मींस आइदर यू आर एक्रेडिटेड और नॉट. So that is what I had with you for you. You can have questions, please. Any questions? If there are no questions, then we'll stop here. Madam Komal, PPS captain, you want to ask something? So you can ask if you have a question. So when I will stop here then, Komal madam?
Yes, sir. Like any participant, in case of any query, please drop your message in the message box, or you can ask sir directly.
Or I have to come to you once more during this program. So you collect your queries, right? We wait for me to join. I think it is on Friday, madam.
Yes, sir.
So I'll be there to answer your queries. Even about the other lectures, if you have any queries, you can keep pending for me. I should be able to sort it out. So thank you very much. Thank you for listening, and thank you for asking questions. That encourages me to talk more if you are asking questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Professor B.S. Papa, for this informative session. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Participant, please don't forget to mark your attendance for the session along with the feedback. Thank you so much.